5.34 miles, 9 minutes, 23 seconds per mile, 147 beats per minute today, which is a little bit more intense of a run than I was hoping for. I was hoping for a recovery run, but we had temps that were 2 degrees Fahrenheit with 10 mile per hour steady winds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough to kind of make it feel like someone's pushing you or pushing you down as you're running. So it made tough running conditions even tougher. And kind of that's what I want to talk about today is running once it gets really cold. And for me, that's basically anything that's like in the single digits Fahrenheit, like 5 degrees or below. That's when like things get really rough for me. I love to run in winter conditions. I love to run year round. But I also do get cold really easily. I'm probably the first one in any running group to be like, oh, it's chilly out today. And I'll be the last one to kind of warm up. And as much as I do run in and get acclimated to cold running conditions, I do get affected by it. So what I've been running with lately as temperatures have been like anywhere between freezing and down to like 10 degrees Fahrenheit is just the face mask covering and then a hat. And it's usually enough for me because I'm wearing the neck gaiter or the buff. It puts a lot of like my exhaled air, which is very humid, like up towards my face, and I get a lot of like the frozen eyelashes, which I think kind of like look cool. But for a longer run, it gets very tiresome to kind of try and see through that. I've had a couple of runs already where this year, like my left eye is kind of like not really wanting to open anymore, and I'm having a hard time like seeing, and it just gets really painful. So at times like that, that's when I start reaching for the ski goggles. And I've run in different ski goggles over the years. Usually I pick them because I think they'll look interesting in a YouTube video. So not for function, but definitely for form. And I feel like I've definitely like paid the price for that. I get a lot of fogging problems and I get a lot of just ice that's building up on the lens. So this year I thought I'd buy like regular ski goggles, and I got this pair relatively cheap. I think they were like only $20, really cheap on Amazon. And they're a clear lens. They're not tinted like some of the other ones where they're clear, so I can use them in a wider variety of like lighting conditions. And I thought that would kind of solve my problems. And it did for a little while on today's run, but pretty soon I was realizing that that same moisture that was causing me to have frozen eyelashes was then causing freezing to occur on the lens of these ski goggles. And so that became a problem. So I ended up pulling down my face mask, hoping then if I could blow some more of the heat or the moist air like further away from myself, that might put some relief in terms of what was hitting the lens, and that might kind of solve the issue. And it kind of did for a little while. I had some direct sunlight and that kind of melted the ice for a little bit. But then, it eventually came back. And then I had now like ice on my goggles and a cold face down here. And the other thing that had happened was right around my mouth was still like very pliable and just a little bit damp as far as my buff that I was wearing goes. But like below my mouth, it had frozen to some of my facial hair here, which this is my first winter running with facial hair. So that was a new surprise, a nice experience in a triple dog dare you kind of way. So I could only pull it down so far because it was stuck to my face. That was weird, but I was pretty uncomfortable because my face was really cold and I was still having a hard time seeing. Like the ice kind of like generally started to creep down further and further until like I had only like a little sliver of glass that I could like see through, and I was running like this for a lot of the time. And that's not really like ideal for what I want to be doing this year. If I keep kind of like my current setup, I think that I'll probably have to limit my runs to about an hour when the temps dip this low. Now here in this part of Iowa, it does get cold, and we see these kinds of temps, but it usually will be here for like a couple days, and then we'll get a break and we'll get up to the teens, maybe into the 20s, as far as like the temps when I'm out there running go. So it's not like the most cold temperatures that are out there. I know a lot of you guys are running out in colder temperatures, but it's down in these temps long enough that I can't just limit my runs to it, or I don't want to just limit my runs every time it gets this cold. So I'd like to figure out some sort of other solution if I can. I don't know if I just have to get like a nicer pair of goggles or what it is, but I really would like to be able to have like a face mask, hat, and the goggles on, all three, or have a balaclava and the goggles on, just because I'd like to have all like my head skin covered up for those really, really cold days if I'm going to be out there for longer than an hour. And I just haven't found like a setup that really works for me yet. So for those of you who have been running in much colder temps, I'd love to hear from you guys and see what you guys are doing. Maybe you guys are just like, I just wear a balaclava and I'm good. That's you're tougher runners than I am. I need a little bit more protection from that cold weather to do that. So if you've got like a solid pair of goggles that have worked for you and you're wearing like a face covering, I'd love to hear about that. Put it in the comments below. Or better yet, stop by the live stream I do just about every day on YouTube, 3 p.m. Central Time, and we could talk about it more there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe and warm out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?